No. Dang. I can't hear you no more.
This is Bernard Moore the third with More on the Road. Sitting here talking with Coach Yusef Fitzgerald, trying to make sure that we get our streaming together because my sound is not really pulling up. Can you hear me, Coach?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I guess Coach can't hear me, but I can see him.
I can hear you.
Output.
No.
Can you hear me, Coach?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
I know. I don't know why. Let me try. Let me check something.
Again, you listen to Bernard Moore the third with More on the Road. Gonna talk with Coach Yusef.
Hear me?
Coach, can you hear me now?
Can you? Yeah, I hear you.
Man, I don't know exactly what's going on, but I can't hear Coach. I see that we have some sound.
I can hear you.
I see that I have sound on the board, but I'm not sure exactly why it's not coming through. It's gonna get together, Coach. Let me get to back to small screen. I don't know if it's my headsets or what. Everything is on. My sound is up. Let me check this. I believe we're gonna have to go to another route, Coach. I don't know what's up with this sound.
Can you hear me? Still can't hear me?
Screen captures. Everything should be going well. I don't know what's
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Coach, I don't know exactly what's going on with the sound. Can you hear me? Can
I
you
can.
hear me?
I can't. You can't hear me.
But I can't hear you, Coach.
I know. I can hear you.
Let me take this. All right, can you hear me now, Coach? But I
Yep.
can't hear you.
I know. That's crazy. I'm about
let
to
me
try
let
to.
me try it this way. Where we go? Welcome to the wonderful world of technology. Got to go double check. Can you hear me, Coach?
Yep.
Okay, now I can hear you, Coach. Boy,
I
this
just,
is the wonderful world of technology.
right.
Man, Coach, my apologies about the hiccup again. This is More on the Road with Bernard Moore the third, presented by More and More Sports Management. Talking with Coach Yusef Fitzgerald. Coach, now I don't know what title to give you right now because I know that you wear so many hats down there at, I'm gonna say, your home. That's what
Right.
braided you to be the young man that you are right now. So I'm gonna allow you to introduce and provide the title because I know that you wear many hats down there where you back. I know you wear many hats back at home right now. So I'm gonna let you introduce your title and what do you do back home now.
All right. So I just left Hines Community College, and now I'm the athletic director down at Piney Woods.
So is that the only thing you're doing right now? Is just being an athletic director?
Yeah. I'm working on some development stuff to try to help with bringing some business down there and bringing some people that can help grow the institution to back where it was before when I left in 1995.
Okay. Well, now how does it feel to be back home? And what that's just a two-part question. How does it feel to be back home? And then what led you back home?
Man, it feels great. Um, Anytime you're going home, you know you always gonna get that appreciation of being back at home. So it's that feeling of appreciation, being wanted, people believing in your vision that you can bring to a table, and they all get behind it. Your family is always gonna be there for you regardless of what's going on, and that's what Piney Woods is. It's a family. And so coming home, literally, the president and I were in school together. Most of the people that are working there now were there when I was there. So it's literally like going home to your family.
Yeah,
And
and
go ahead.
now you go ahead now because often just mention something in reference definitely to with family. Now what you said, a lot of the individuals back there are they went to school with you or they had some type of time with school before and after you.
Right. And so, like me wanting to go back, it's something that I wanted to do back when I left IMG back in 2014. But I couldn't get back because college coaches and college institutions were hiring me, um, left and right. So some of that stuff I couldn't pass up on because it was some of my dreams to be a college coach, someday. And those opportunities presented itself multiple times. Of course, with the Hines deal the last 4 years. Before that, I was in New York at Iona. Before that, I was at Jones Junior College, and then IMG before that. So when I first got the job at IMG, I knew that Piney Woods could be something similar because of the setup that it already had. And so me going home, man, was something along the lines of kind of mission work because it's not that I'm going to Piney Woods for some big check. I'm going to Piney Woods because I want to see it get back to glory of what we had when I left.
Now, what you mean by glory? Now, I'm gonna let you boast about yourself a little bit, Coach, because I know of those glory days that you're speaking of, and I know a few of the gentlemen that played along with you on doing them glory days. So I'm gonna let you boast about yourself. I know you're not being egotistic about anything. I know that these are actual facts of what took place during Piney Woods, the duration that you were there. So, could you elaborate on some of the time while you was there, Coach?
And now, I ain't big on that, but I do. Like, all right. So, and excuse me, man. I was working out, so excuse the sweat and the towel, man. But
No, hey, hey, you working, coach, but I really appreciate your time. Spending time with me with more on the road. But I know that once I heard the news, I know this will be a good opportunity to share about what you're attempting to do down at Piney Woods. And so
I
that's why I definitely want to bring you on, definitely so you can share to get the word out what you're doing down at Piney Woods.
appreciate it, man. So it kind of Hollywood is a deal, man. That had always been in sports
Uh huh.
because we stopped counting them after a while because we were winning them back to back to back. And then we actually I played on back to back championship teams, #1 ranked in the state, and we were honorable mention for top 25 in the country. I started at the two guard on that team, and I mean we were loaded from the point guard. Jamari Francis went to Indiana State. I was at the two. I went to Tougaloo because of some trouble and stuff that I got into, but I had Division I offers and mid-major offers. Our three-man, of course, was a top 20 player in the country, Brian Adams, that went on to start at all. I had every ACC school that recruited him. We saw Wake Forest, Clemson, Florida State. Everybody was in our gym back then. And then, like I say, we were #1 in the poll when it was just one poll, not two. So that was out of all your 5A, 6A. No, it wasn't 6A back then. It was 4A, 5A. And we played those teams. Starkville whooped them. Murrah went in their gym and whooped them to sleep. Beat them by like 15, 16 in their gym when they had only had one loss in that gym for like 20 years. And we came in there and skint them up pretty good. I never lost a 2A game. Not one time in my career have I lost a district game or a 2A game in my history of Piney Woods. In actuality, my 2 years playing high school ball, I was 73-10 overall as a record.
Uh
So,
huh.
you know, it was no competition for 3 years. Dang near almost that fourth year, we won 3 state titles in a row. And then we almost won a fourth. But I'm not gonna name no names. Yes, I am. Raheem Lockhart and Brian Adams lost their not Brian Adams. Brian was gone. Let me take that back, B. You right, Raheem Lockhart and Cedric and rest in peace. And right, if y'all don't know who Raheem is, he's the head coach at East Central. He went down and lost that doggone game, man, and had us real peeved off with them. So we almost had a 4-peat then, but then we came back in 2011 and won another state title. And Coach Brent had been down there and almost won. I think Coach Brent played in the title game 2 years straight when he was there. And so we've had years, and Coach Black Jones, Lemuel Jones, I call him Black Jones. Lemuel Jones won the title in 2011 with some kids that were pretty good too. Ole Miss. Colby went to Ole Miss. Kentwan went to, I think it was Rio Grande, UT Rio Grande. And Xavier Rimmer went to Louisiana Lafayette. With the Alcorn first pair with them, Louisiana Lafayette. So we had, some years running of good teams. And then in actuality, Coach James Turner just finished up. We didn't have sports last year because of COVID. And us being a boarding school, we tried to kind of like bubble our kids. So we only had international kids in, and we didn't do sports last year. So bringing it back. But before that, Coach Turner had the kid Tyreek Chambers that was, everything in the state and made it to the Coliseum before his senior year was out. So we've had history of sports being great. Baseball players that were drafted out of Piney Woods. We had the track and field where we were placing in events. Cross country, like I told you. Tennis, we were placing in events. Like, it's been a history. Our choir has been winning, the best ratings that you can get in choral competitions. So, I mean, we've had a history of strength in all student activities, not just sports. Man, we boast a 250-acre farm where the kids can learn agribusiness. We have 350 solar panels that Tesla donated that the kids were directly involved in the installation and everything that goes on with harnessing that energy and trying to use it to cut our light bill. We have computer science. We got the STEM program. Our academic curriculum, you graduating from Piney Woods with those 24 credits, but you getting it in all types of performing arts, different trades you can learn. So Piney Woods was bigger than just sports, but we were always good because we were a melting pot with kids from all over the world. Like, we had people from Mississippi, Alaska, California, New York, Chicago, Africa. I mean, you name it, we probably had it. And we were bubbling, man, just a melting pot of cultures that you can't get that anywhere in the world. And so it prepared all of us. If you look up, man, it's a lot of your prominent people that are doing big things in the world actually went to Piney Woods School. Back in the day, Bernard, we were on 60 Minutes at one time as a feature. We had a feature on 60 Minutes on Sunday about Piney Woods, and they did a whole show about it. And then Oprah Winfrey used to give to the school. Kathy Hughes, the owner of TV One, her grandfather founded the school. So it's so much rich history, man, that people don't know about. And we've been open, Bernard, for 113 years straight. 113 years straight. We was founded in 1909 in rural Rankin County, Mississippi. Now I'm gonna just let that sit on you because you're a historian like I am. 1909 in Rankin County, Mississippi. It was a school founded for African American students.
And I applaud that. Especially, I know some history of Piney Woods. I've had the opportunity to visit the campus. I've been invited multiple times down to speak, had some speaking engagements, down to attend some events. Actually, I was a judge for one of the beauty contests a few years ago down in Piney Woods. So I said, you can say I understand the mission of that. It is a boarding school that have students from international all over the world. Because I had a young man that I can consider as like a younger brother. He had the opportunity to attend graduate from Piney Woods. I know Mr. Damian Jones, so he played basketball down in Piney Woods also. Mm-hmm. And I know traveling down there to see him play and just hearing the history of Piney Woods, especially you all made history. I know some people look at, especially within the Jackson metro area, because I would consider Rankin County part of the metro area, even though Piney Woods is about 30, I wouldn't give it 30, at least 20 to 20 minutes outside of Jackson. Mm-hmm. But you guys were the first one to have a 4-peat, and which was led by
3-peat.
Now I'm gonna give Miss Cuda. Now I thought Brian had 4.
No, the boy ain't got no 4. Got 3. He got 3. Because I can tell you about that. It was supposed to be four straight for us, but 10th grade, I had to sit out for. I transferred back to Piney. So I went to Piney was a seventh grader, and then I
Uh-huh.
transferred out and then transferred back in as a sophomore. And when I came back as a sophomore, I had to sit out a year. So that year, we had a really good team. Brian Adams, Jamari, and them. Man, Jamari had some, not legal issues, but on campus rules issues because it was, Piney Woods it wasn't strict, but they had rules. And if you didn't follow them rules, they would hold you accountable, which was some of the things that helped us, along our time in life, understanding accountability. So like with us, I didn't do what I was supposed to do on transferring back in. So I had to sit out. Jamari got in some trouble in biology class. He had to sit out the playoff game against Shelby Broad Street. And then, I ain't gonna name no names on that team because them all my big brothers. So I ain't gonna say nothing about them. I can say something about Raheem. He big, but he still pro. But like the other guys, man, they just couldn't get it done. And Shelby Broad Street to them, Ira Peterson, man, and his sons, they had a really good team back then. Shelby Broad Street, Cars, and all them guys, man, they were thorns and I behind in 2A before I came along. And then my 11th grade and 12th grade year, we ain't look back. But Brian got three. My junior and senior year, and then his senior year, because he's 1 year behind me. And then he left, and Raheem and Sid and them had it for that fourth. And like I told you, man, they just dropped the bottom. Choctaw Central kids. Man, Choctaw Central had a ring. I don't know where they got that boy from, but if he was Indian, I bet my check he wasn't a full Indian because he was flying all over the place.
Well, Coach, let me say this. I know at the beginning of the show, again, you listened with More on the Road with Bernard Moore, the third, presented by More and More Sports Management. Now, I know you're doing a lot of things down at Piney Woods. Now, I'm going to ask you, do you have your CDL license right now?
I do not, man, because
Well,
it's funny because I had a meeting about that the other day about
well, now,
everybody.
Coach,
Yes.
well, Coach, I'm finna intersect real quick because I think you got it now, Coach, where you just put Raheem Lockhart up under the bus and and just he can. So I think right now you have your CDL license right now. But I know, man, though, that that it is rich history down there in Piney Woods. Like I said, it is in a community of itself. Like I said,
Right.
like I said, I can say the development of the land because it sits off of 49 and it's behind Brancher Woods. But once you turn onto campus, you can see the beauty and the growth that there's going on. And I know that they were doing some construction the last time I was down there. So
Mm-hmm.
are they still doing construction? I know it's been kind of hard dealing with COVID, and you want to kind of isolate. I mean, you want to kind of slow down as much traffic as you can on and off campus, especially dealing with the students.
Right. And the thing that, pandemic hurt us bad when you're talking about, your protocols that you had to adhere to and what we tried to do. And again, I was at Hines at the time, but I know talking to my president, Dr. Will Crosley, we wanted to limit as much action off campus as we could so we wouldn't have an outbreak of COVID on that campus. Because it's such a tight knit family. And so last year, enrollment was down and we're praying that, we'll get an influx of students that, could come back and bring us back up, man, after pandemic. But I tell you, Bernard, like a lot of people don't know, Piney Woods is 2,000 acres,
Uh-huh.
literally 2,000. And when you're coming down 49 and you're looking on the left and you see that white fence and the farm and all that good stuff, that farm is about 250 acres. The other side of 49 is ours too, belongs to Piney Woods. So we're in the process, man, of trying to get some more construction and some more development, just to kind of build us a community, man. And I think it could be, I think it can happen, especially in 2021 with as many people as we have on board that can help, and as many, especially getting on a show like this. And Dr. Will Crosby is always on the road, you know, trying to raise funds and trying to get people to donate, man, so we can keep this thing going because you don't have a place like this open since 1909, without having some people get behind it, man. So hopefully, we'll have even more folks that want to get behind it, man, and see the value of what we offer educationally and be able to, increase our enrollment again.
Well, let me ask you this: what is it? Something that for the listeners, what can they do? I say to be a part of Piney Woods or to help out with Piney Woods, or like I said, what can they do to donate to Piney Woods to help build the school? Because education is very important, and when you can
Hmm.
provide other tools to as they entice individuals with education? What is something that listeners can do to definitely help out?
Well,
Um,
the first thing, Bernard, and I want to say this out loud, is I hope everybody's listening. If you driving your car, if you watching online, stop moving and listen. Piney Woods is not for bad kids. That's the rhetoric that we want to get away from. Like that whole narrative of trying to scare kids, or I'm gonna send you to Piney Woods. The best thing that can happen is you going to Piney Woods. The education that you're getting out of it is second to none. Is just as good as any other private school is in the world. We're talking about kids going to Emory, Harvard, University of Chicago. Like you don't have kids coming off the south side of Chicago going to university, going to Harvard, you don't have them going to law school and coming out of it without Piney Woods. You know what I'm saying? So like for me, I just would love for people to send the right that we are a school for everyone. We are a school education. We are a school for educating kids with the head, heart, and the hands model to where we encourage work. We encourage you getting up in the morning with some structure. We encourage discipline. We encourage, doing things the right way. It's what we're about. We are a positive community with a bunch of positive people that all we want to do is see, kids succeed. Because like for me, I came from now. Did I come from an at-risk situation? Yeah, I did. And I was one of the kids that needed some help, not necessarily because I was bad, I was misunderstood. And that's what we got to get away from. A lot of the folks are always, oh, that kid bad, oh, that kid this. Well, nobody sat down and talked to on why he was acting out or why he was looking for attention. Because a lot of times that's what's going on in our neighborhoods and our homes. So for me, man, I would just love for everybody to spin the right narrative on taking advantage of the school, because at the end of the day, it's not just for me. It's not just for the past. It's for the future students of America and the world, because we can create leaders. We can create great citizens, great family men, great fathers, great women, great leaders in the communities all over. If we can change the world one kid at a time, man, we can change the world 350 kids at a time. So, for us at Piney Woods, we just want to be able to share our model with students, with kids, with the community. We want to be involved. And what we do is we're not trying to recruit or do none of that stuff. All we try and do is be vocal about where we are and the option that you do have for education. And that's the biggest thing. Because like, Bernard, I've been coaching for 16 years, man. Everybody loves the coaching aspect and the basketball and the sports and all that stuff. And that's cool. But part of my mission and part of what I want to do, I want to impact more students, more kids' lives. And when I'm coaching in college and doing those things, I'm only getting 15 to 18 kids a year. I want to be able to touch 100 kids, 250 kids, a million kids. If we can impact a million kids, we good, man. Now we change how our world is turned how we want to by putting out a good product. So, that's why I am with what I want to be out there is, come see us. Don't judge us from passing by on the highway and what they told you in 1950. It's 2021. Pull over, come on campus, see how beautiful it is, see what it looks like. You necessarily have to come. You might know somebody might know somebody in Alaska. You might know somebody in China. Hey man, I got a good place that you can send some kids to. And that's the way we want to grow and be able to provide and offer, services for education.
Again, you listen to More on the Road with Bernard Moore III, presented to you by More and More Sports Management, talking with Coach Yusef Fitzgerald, newly athletic director back home at Piney Woods. Um, Coach, now I know this is the big issue, especially now with, you can say we thought we had it handled.
Mm,
However, the numbers have increased, and now we don't know what lies ahead for when school starts. I know
mm-hmm,
with you guys being on campus, I can say that you guys can control more of the aspect from your end.
mm-hmm.
However, how would that affect athletics with you all happen to have to go out to different schools and play against them, and they may be on a different COVID restriction guideline compared to you guys?
Well, what we'll do is the same thing that the state has been doing, follow the regulations of what they set forth nationally and statewide, and
Uh-huh.
try to be cautious as we can with protocols and distancing and masking up and trying to encourage. We can't tell people to take the vaccine, but we would love for you too. But if you don't, we mask up, make sure we testing, and making sure we doing as much social distancing as we can, and sanitizing and making sure we spray down our areas to try to limit
Uh-huh.
that COVID exposure and spread. Now, Of course, it's going to be the same risk that anybody else is taking if we're going to play sports if they allow us to, or require us to this year. It's going to be the same not restriction, but same cautionary, movement and setup for everybody the same. We don't circumvent the process or do we panic. We like to go at things with a strategic plan, and it'll be the same thing. Our president does a great job with staying on top of things, and me as AD, I'm watching and listening and paying attention and then seeing how this thing's gonna turn out. And for me, man, we're a Christian faith based institution, and we gonna rely on God. At the end of the day, all this stuff we want to get back to believing. God got the last say. He got full control, and we're gonna roll with His plan.
Yeah. And what you saying there, Coach? I know this. How can I put this? May not have an effect on you, but you can say that a possibility it may trickle down. Now let's go in another direction. Now we got the COVID stuff. We're all praying and believing that if we go ahead and vaccinate, all that's going to be gone. We're going to be cautious. We're going to be distant. We're going to make sure everything is clean. This COVID got us doing stuff that we should have that we were taught growing up to do. Keep clean. Keep your hand out your face. Don't be all up in everybody else's face. So COVID is really teaching us the stuff that we should have that we learned in preschool. But with that being said, with this NIL, now I know this has been a big issue. I know with you being a former college player as well as you being a former college coach, you working with different types of student athletes, especially coming from Iona, from Jones, Hines, and then at IMG. It's not trying to point fingers at IMG, but especially at IMG because I know that the caliber of student athletes that they work with and the things that they offer. With this NIL, what is your thought of it right now as from a former college athlete aspect? Now, I want you to answer questions in different aspects, but I want to get it from your as a former student athlete.
I think we should have been paid. I think for years, I think these organizations, I'm gonna call, have been set up to profit for a long time off of everybody's likeness. And I mean, it was video games at one time that had Tougaloo College's roster on the video game. You know what I'm saying? And it's like when you look up, all that was in the likeness of whatever player was at Tougaloo College at the time. And they spent money and made money and didn't give the kids a dime, but they made plenty of money. And I'm glad I'm on the other side right now. So I'm gonna say, well, no, I'm happy they did it. I'm happy it finally came around because it should be something. Now people say, oh, we giving them a scholarship, that's enough. Well, when you compare, what you making as a school and the revenue we bringing in, we can view way more than that scholarship dollar, brother. Like at the end of the day, even if it was the difference, you still getting plenty of money. Because if you think about it, man, Michigan football has sold out their stadium every year for I think the last 20 plus years. So you do
And
the
they
math.
see the 100,000+.
Come on, man, and they see the 100 plus. Now remember, now your tickets when you selling out. So that means them high dollar tickets you talking about, 300, 400, 500, maybe $1,000, and you talking about there's no seat available in Michigan at University of Michigan. Come on, man, like you done made money hand over foot. So at the end of the day, it's only right that these children and student athletes, man, get something out of their life. Because this other thing, kid plays sports, puts the school on his back, does all this, does all that, then he blows out a knee, right? He blows out the knee. Do you think the school has one time said, you know what, man, we got you as a career. We gonna do this, we gonna do that, and we gonna make sure you straight. Now, does some schools do it? Yes. Do most of them? No. Once your leg is blown, you are thrown like a dead horse or a broken leg horse, and you got to figure it out on your own. And that's sad. At the end of the day,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Coach.
So
That's,
put they stuff on the line every day. And I mean, tell you, you got people telling, man, you should go back. You should come back. You should go out. You should do this. You should do that. They come back to school. Things don't go like it's supposed to. And then these kids been playing basketball most of their life. That's what they know. So at the end of the day, it becomes a situation where what's left for them to do. Now they got to pick up the pieces when something was unexpected for them. Now they got to figure out what they're doing next. And that's why, I love Piney Woods, because we're giving you the holistic model of giving you some options off the flow that you may not have at your regular high schools and other places, because we offer the agri-science, because we got that 250-acre farm. We got the STEM program. We got, computer science. We're working with Tesla on some stuff. We got some architecture stuff that we do with our kids. So it gives them an opportunity to have something to fall back on early in the process than it is late, just in case, things that you originally designed don't work out.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. And I think that it was some type of rule. I can't. I may not be 100% sure, but I'm trying to remember that once they finish playing, and then you try to help the student athlete out, especially now, that's against some type of NCAA rule that you can't. How I say the athletics can't pay for them to continue their education if they're not participating in athletics. And it was something I know because the issue came up that you can't give the student athletes some type of technology over the summer because the scholarships don't pay for the summer, and then you can't do something once they finish. I can't remember exactly too big to full extent, but I don't want to know get the NCAA. I forget them. Whatever institution is doing it. Just like you said, these student athletes give their bodies out. They got to, for one thing, they got to go to class
Mm-hmm.
because if they don't go to class, they're not gonna be able to play.
That's right.
Then they gotta participate in sports. Then they gotta learn all the plays. Because if they don't learn plays, you're not gonna be on a team. You're gonna be kicked out somewhere. So it is a give and take. But I think that the NCAA, which is the biggest pimp, the next legalized biggest pimp besides some other agency. I'm not gonna say the name because I don't want to get in trouble. But I'm gonna say the NCAA is one of the biggest other pimps, legalized pimps in this world, where in the United States of America, making billions of dollars. But you would get upset if a booster gives this young man or young lady a free meal at their local restaurant.
I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna sum it up right here, right? And I love what Dion is doing over at Jack State. Love it, absolutely love it. And not to short anybody else. Eddie George at Tennessee State. Mo Williams over at Alabama State. You got some pro guys that are getting back in it. And I'll give you my experience so you'll get a kind of understanding on where the NCAA stands. So we were at Iona. We won our conference tournament and made it to the NCAA tournament. Our first round draw, I think we were a 14th seed. I think the highest seed that Iona had achieved. Um, we get in there. We got to play Oregon in the first round. Okay. So you know how they had that thing where they want all even playing field amongst all Division I sports, right? Even playing field. All right. So let's start with the even playing field. So when we show up, we have a Mercury bus. When the last time you seen a Mercury, Bernard?
It's been a while.
So all right. So boom. So we had a Mercury bus, and I hope this lady's not watching, but she was smoking cigarettes, and the bus literally smelled like we had got the delivery for the fish shack before they cooked it. If that makes sense. So turn around. I see Oregon's bus, right? So we pull up in the same arena, Sacramento Kings arena. You all the security clearance. They got to open the gates and the spikes on the ground.
Hey, coach, your sound went out. Your sound went out, coach. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, coach? What's going on with this technology? Again, listen to More on the Road, talking with Coach Fitzgerald, athletic director down at Piney Woods and Piney Woods, Mississippi, off of Highway 49. Yes, I know that the sound kind of went out, but I understand exactly where Coach was coming from about the equal playing field, dealing with that you want everything to be equal, but everything should be there, especially this is an NCAA sponsored event. If especially with basketball, since you have multiple different teams come from all around the country, a lot of the teams are not going to drive to those particular locations. So you should have some type of you still have some type of way of transporting them. So they, in my opinion, I think they should be all up on the same style of bus. But hey, though, again, I have nothing to do with that tournament, but that's just my opinion. But I know exactly where he's coming from with that. I know exactly where he was coming from with that in reference to that they were on a, as I say, a shotgun bus compared to how everybody else was on a good bus. But that's not equal playing field because you say you can automatically say that did their opponents pay for their bus or was it the NCAA sponsor bus? And again, in my opinion, if you got teams come from all around the country, they have their own charter bus. But once they get to that particular location where the game is being played, in my opinion, again, I may be wrong. I hope the NCAA don't try to come ban me from doing anything. That I think that you should also have a charter bus company that's going to take the kids, take the student athletes or the teams from their particular airport or hotels and travel them, transport them back and forth. So that's just my opinion. So I guess that the NCAA said, "Nah, we're gonna let y'all get your own bus." And some schools don't have the funds to pay for those particular luxury buses, but they have the funds to do what's the best. So again, you playing at the NCAA sponsored events, the NCAA should have took care of all this stuff, in my opinion. I still can't hear you, coach. But I know this is the wonderful world of technology. So this is how it goes sometimes. So let me try something. This is how wonderful this stuff goes. Let's run with this technology. Can you hear me now, coach? I still can't hear you, coach. But again, what we were talking about, we was talking about the NCAA as well as again definitely trying to play in the level field. You talk with Bernard Moore the third of more and more sports management. Listen to more on the road. Now again, we was talking about land. I mean the playing field of individuals, especially with the NCAA tournament. And you can look back what happened, what took place this past year with the women and the type of hotel that they were set up in, as well as compare. I mean, the weight room compared to what the men have. I don't think that that's an equal playing field because guess what? All of those institutions, someone with the same institution, participating in the NCAA tournament. But I don't think that that was that was right. And again, I wasn't there, so I can't say that. Hey, you guys provide them with crappy weight equipment compared to how the men's had a full fledged gym. I can't say, so I'm not gonna sit and say that because I wasn't there to see it at this year NCAA tournament. Dealing with the women in the men weight room. I can see you, Coach, but I still can't hear you. Let me see that. Let me kick you out. Then I'll try to get you back in, Coach. Let's see what that had. Let's see what that works. So again, well, that's the wonderful world of this technology. I said I'm talking with Coach Fitzgerald with more on the road, presented to you by More and More Sports Management, coming to you live from my home office. I know that you can see the background with my Scottie Pippen jersey. I know some people said I was a Bull fan, that I was all for Michael Jordan. I can say now I was a Bull fan. Michael Jordan was the guy, but I'm more of a Scottie Pippen guy. Like he played his part, he did his part, and some people can say that if it wasn't for Scottie Pippen, Jordan wouldn't have any championship. And I strongly support that because Jordan needed support to do what he wanted to do, and Scottie Pippen was that guy to help Jordan do what he needed to do. So don't sit here and think and say that Scottie Pippen was not part of the Chicago Bulls, which he was, and he was that guy. He was that guy that helped the Chicago Bulls reach to where they were, reach where they are. Now, I know once I get Coach back on, I definitely want to talk about the different things that with the NIL as well as this super conference as what they considering about with Oklahoma and Texas moving to the SEC, and then what's going to be up next for the Big 12, and then teams looking like the Big Ten going to snap some of the teams out the Big 12, and the WAC or the Pac, the WAC as well as the Pac-10 may take some of the teams out of the Big 12. I mean, out of the Big 12 and move them over. So it's going to be a lot of moving parts, in my opinion, to see exactly what's going to take place with college sports coming up. I think that the SEC is being one of the most has been a powerhouse conference. Do I think that they're going to be successful? Yes, I think it is a successful conference because of they are taking a boatload of student athletes, spread them out over the conference, and then bringing in other institutions like Oklahoma and Texas, which has a big market in the Midwest area, and then as well as South. So I think that the SEC is going to be a major tough conference this upcoming year, as if OU and Texas transition on over to the SEC, and then it leads to where does the Big 12 go? The Big 12, in my opinion, I think they're just going to go ahead and dissolve and merge with another conference and collaborate there. I think that'll probably be the best thing for them to do because of if OU and Texas leave, they have nothing else. And again, my opinion, they have nothing else. So I think that what may take place with the Big 12. Only thing I suggest is that they merge with another conference or dissolve and allow each team to go wherever they choose to. And then everybody's looking at Notre Dame about they are a free agent. They are in an independent conference. They have no ties with anyone. They have no ties with any conference but the ACC currently and other sports, but football is by itself where they are currently riding solo with football. So again, you're still looking at what Notre Dame is going to do. And I've heard the other analysts speaking of that other conferences may contact Notre Dame and ask them to come join them, try to persuade them to come join them in the Big Ten or the ACC or the AAC, which is a conference that you could possibly say that it's possible on the rise as well. Now, the SEC is possibly going to step away from the NCAA because of they're looking at the different rules and speculation, rules and regulation that trying to follow up in the NCAA about potentially paying student athletes for their service. And then some say if they do that, they're going to be unionized, going to be employees of the university, which, yes. And some look at say, hey, we're providing those student athletes with scholarship. Yes, you are. You are providing with year-to-year based scholarship or semester-to-semester scholarship, depending on when the sport falls. So you can basically say that it is what it is. So it's a lot of it's a what is the word I'm looking for? It's a lot of nuts and bolts that need to be tightened up dealing with this stuff, dealing with the scholarships and dealing with pay for play, dealing with the NIL, dealing with certain boosters, enticing student athletes to come to that particular to their university because of I'm a CEO of company XYZ and I graduated from University of ABC and I want you to come play. I would like for you to sign a scholarship, a letter of intent to attend my university. Then while you're there, we will definitely have you a spokesman for my company. But that you cannot have any ties or represent the university in any way of me paying you to be a spokesman for my company. And then kind of heard some stuff today that the taxes, these individuals, these student athletes, are going to have to pay taxes on this money. So they're going to be considered making financial. They're going to be making money, so they're going to have to pay taxes. So now, are they being educated on how the taxes may go with how much money that they make? I think, or they're just looking at the dollar amount and say, "Hey, I just made me $1 million." Then IRS, Uncle Sam is still going to request his money. So definitely get yourself together in reference to wanting to deal with the taxes also with this stuff. Can you hear me now, Coach? Now I can't hear you now. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but can you hear me? Then now we can't hear each other. Welcome to the wonderful world of technology. I said it is what it is. But I know everything looks good on sound wise. Is your microphone mute at the bottom of the screen, Coach? That's it. We trying to get it together, boy. This the wonderful world of technology. Can't live with it, can't live without it, but it will be all right. I don't know exactly what's going on with this stuff, but let's see. I don't want to do that. I need to put Can you hear me now, Coach? Test 1, 2. I don't know what's going on with this stuff. It's very exciting at times. But when you get so much stuff hooked up, that's just where it goes sometimes. I don't know what's going on with this stuff, Coach. But again, I was talking with Coach Yusef Fitzgerald, a newly athletic director at Piney Woods. They said he's back home now at Piney Woods. They say that's his home school. Coach, I don't know exactly what's going on with it with this sound, but it is very interesting. I guess we definitely gonna have to get together again and do this again, Coach. But I don't know if you can hear me, but I'll definitely shoot you a text and let you know. I don't know what's going on with this sound. But everything was working out just fine and chit chatting, but now I guess it's welcome to the wonderful world of technology. Can you hear me, Coach? Can you hear me? But I can't hear you. I can't hear you. If I just unplug all this stuff and just say, what did you say, Coach? Sound like I heard something. I don't know what's going on with all this stuff. Come on up. Let me check and see if it's sound on my computer. There we go. My sound on my computer pretty good. It's just not. I just can't hear you, Coach. I guess, Coach, we're gonna have to get together again and do this again. So I don't know exactly what's going on. I see that my mics are picking up very well. But again, man, no, this is Bernard Moore III with More on the Road, presented to you by More and More Sports Management. I guess I'm gonna have to get Coach on again. Let me go ahead and shoot him a text. So I don't know exactly what was taking place. Like I said, it's still some kinks to still learning how to operate this magnificent this magnificent piece. But I would say that let me go on to the set. I know probably one thing. Let me see if I can this board complete. Yeah, go ahead and disable all all that and see what take place. There we go. So hopefully this will definitely do some different. Let me see if I can get in touch with Coach and see if we can try it again. I'm still on. But man, we was having a great conversation with Coach. But hey, they're dealing with this technology stuff, so this technology stuff acting up on me. But I just hope everything comes out like I supposed to. And as you can see that everything is there. Again, this is talking with Bernard Moore III with Moore on the Road, presented to you by More and More Sports Management. Now, we was talking about in reference to the NIL as well as the different programs will have an advantage on certain student athletes in reference to the NILs. Can you hear me now, Coach? But I still can't hear you, Coach. I don't know exactly what's going on. I done changed. I done completely took out my other piece, and hopefully thought that would definitely do something. But I guess but hey, again, this is a wonderful world of technology. So I don't know exactly what's going on with all this stuff. But just like stated, Coach, man, we must get together again and do this again. If you can hear me, I guess I would definitely have to go to a different platform so that we can say, hey, no, we can definitely communicate with each other. Probably have to go through my regular social media platform instead of going through with this Ustream. But I really appreciate the time, Coach, man. Again, we must do this again. I definitely shoot you a text, but anything that I can be helpful for with you down there at Piney Woods, you got my contact information. I'm definitely in support for you guys. Even though I didn't graduate from Piney Woods, no, if we all in this coaching family together. So anything I can do for you guys, definitely let me know. All right, we'll chat with you later, Coach. All right, take it easy. But again, we were talking with Coach Fitzgerald's new athletic director down at Piney Woods boarding school. And some people, again, they hear Piney Woods think it's more for for students that had certain things going on personally. No, Piney Woods it's a well-rounded institution. Excuse me, got the hiccups and the belts at the same time. A well-rounded institution that provide those student athletes with real life situations. It's also preparing students. I'm not just gonna say student athletes, preparing students for the future, because you're actually getting a college style education. You're living on campus. You're teaching the students to grow, not just saying that they have to be student athletes. No, athletics is just an extra part of providing educational opportunities for individuals. Because for some people, education is athletics is what pushed them, and I can speak personally for that because athletics pushed me. I can say that when the year that I set out that I could not play sports when I was in high school, it was an okay year. I still attended classes. I still went to school daily, but it was just a different feel for me because I wasn't out there practicing. I still had classes and socializing with my teammates, but it just felt different because I wasn't out there participating in the sports. I wasn't out there in the ground with them on traveling on Fridays on the bus, and we chit-chatting on the bus and stuff, getting prepared for a game. I wasn't in that environment. Did it feel different? Yes, it did. Did it hurt me a little? Yes, it did, because that's what I wanted to be a part of. It made me a part of a family, but they still were receptive of me, even though I wasn't participating that year, my junior year in high school, my 11th grade year, what some may consider. I wasn't participating, but I can still say, hey, I was still there with them. And then once I had the opportunity to go back out and go and work out back out with the team, once I was medically cleared, I was back out there full throttle. So yes, and you can see the difference in
behavior. You can see the difference in my academic wise, because I was focused on something that were pushing me. So as a student athlete, I can say that I was there to get an education, as well as I was there to participate in sports. So that's the type of things that I know that Pinewood will provide, educational opportunity now with the newly STEM programs, as well as with agriculture. And that is something that student definitely needs to learn. Not trying to degrade all of the different factories and companies that create the food, that process the foods, things along the line. It is good that you can grow your own vegetables. It is good that you can plant your own crops, and as well as that you can, as say, grow your own. Produce your own livestock, as well as cattle, hogs, goats, things along that line. That is the meat that you eat from the store. So, it is good that there's a school that can provide you with that opportunity to learn how to be a gardener, things along that line. But that's not the only thing that Pine Woods has provided. Now, I know that we're speaking about Pine Woods because our guest on was Coach Yusef Fitzgerald's down the newly athletic director at Pine Woods, and I wish him well. Once again, anything that we can definitely be a support with more and more sports management, as well as with more on the road. We're gonna have to take a trip down into Pine Woods now once everything clear up, and then allow visitors and guests to come down to the campus. So definitely, we're going to do a show down there from sometime. I hope Coach is listening. I definitely should have shared that with him in reference to doing the show live from Pine Woods. So this is what we do it with the More on the Road. We will come to you. So if there's any business that would definitely like to be a part of the show, we can come to you. So hopefully that the technology is good, so they won't have to go through like the bugs that we went through. So if there are any business out there that are listening, there are any corporate sponsors that would like to definitely, corporations that definitely would like for us to come out there and be a part of your business and have our show to go live from there, definitely let us know. You can give me a call at 601-260-3509. Again, I'm with More and More Sports Management, Bernard Moore III of More and More Sports Management, with More on the Road. Definitely continue to tune in and follow us on via social media. Follow More and More Sports Management LLC on all the social media profiles, or Bernard Moore III, which is myself on any social media profile: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, those TikTok, those social media profiles where I have a profile in there. So definitely a way to reach me. I definitely will get a response back to you. So I really appreciate all your time. Just a closing moment in thought in the world of sports, in the world of life as well. There are many opportunities out there for you as a student athlete. Just remember the reason why you're doing what you're doing. You're doing it for self-pride. You're doing it for your family. You're doing it for the school or institution that you're representing. But most important, while you continue playing sports, learn, live, enjoy, create a bond with your teammates. Learn discipline, because discipline is very important dealing with sports. Discipline is important in all that you do. Continue to get your education, because of you're not going to be able to play sports all your life. I am 42 years of age, and my career was somewhat cut short because of medical things, but I still had to continue my education. So I do have a master's degree from Jackson State University, DI Love, as well as a bachelor's degree from Jackson State University. I got to pull out the JSU stuff. I got to represent JSU. I got to represent that JSU, home of the mighty Tigers, the Blue Bengals, as well as because of that's where I received my degree. As you can see, I have my tumbler. It's a little faded, but it is Jackson State. I'm going to use this until I can't use it no more. So definitely continue education, because education is very important. And I applaud the administration over at Jackson State University from times being enrolled in 1998. So I've been there for quite some time. I've been away quite some time. I wish them well at what they do, and continue to excel in all that you do, because Jackson State is the University of the South. Is one of the great institutions that provide many opportunities for individuals. So I said provide opportunity for myself to continue to grow to the young, educated man that I am, and it helped me establish a lot of relationship with individuals, politically, athletically, corporations. I've grown a lot being a student athlete at Jackson State University. Again, I really appreciate you all's time. Much love to you guys. Stay tuned. Follow me via social medias. Again, Bernard Moore III or More Sports Management LLC, and see all the next events where we're going to take place. Much love to you guys. 1 + 1 = deuces.